The Souls games were filled with great bosses, lore, and world design. However, a very underrated aspect of the games are the characters. A lot of people, including myself, love these characters due to their interesting backstory and lore. You have a chill, guts-like Wolfman who will prove anything to show his loyalty to his non-blood related half-sister so that she can usher in a new age for the world. You have a very caring sentient doll who will take care of you with a positive nurturing attitude, despite her creator having a deep resentment towards her. All because she didn't take the personality of the baddie she was modeled after. And then you have Patches, who's just a bald freak that loves to troll. These characters are very interesting in their own way, and a lot of them have this enigmatic aura to them. So I took out 15 of my personal favorite Souls characters, specifically talking about the NPCs, to see which one is truly the best. And if you like Soulsborne content like this, then be sure to like and subscribe, and if you don't, then that's fine by me. You being here watching is good enough for me. Patches. This man goes by many names. Patches the Hyena, Patches the Spider, and Patches the Unbreakable. I don't know what he's called in Elden Ring, but that's not the point, as Patches is one of the only character that makes an appearance in every Souls game, except for Dark Souls 2. No wonder that game is shit. Just kidding, Dark Souls 2 is a good game. Kinda. But Patches himself is a character that grew on many people. Sure, he might be a lying asshole who loves to play deadly tricks on people by trapping them and pushing them off cliffs, but come on, he's not so bad after you get to know him. So let's dive into his lore to see why he's this way. Let's see, yeah, he's a mystery. Like, he has no point of origin or anything. The only thing we know is that he's a troll and he's in every Souls game. Now, some people have lore reasons to why he exists in these games and they refer to him as trans-dimensional, but I just honestly think that it's a joke made by the devs. It's probably not that deep. And you know, they just want to see us suffer even more. Anyways, despite being a mysterious asshole, Patches is still one of my favorite characters and I hope we see him in the next Soulsborne title. Bairn. I'm probably saying that wrong. To be honest, I don't have much to say about him. I mean, he's just adorable. I was a bit surprised when he called me cuz because I was like, wait, when the hell did they start using slang in the game? But it's just a form of Old English, pretty much means the same thing. But yeah, Bairn is a top 15 character for sure. Blacksmith Iji is my personal favorite blacksmith in Elden Ring due to the fact that he can pretty much overtune your weapon in the early game. Iji also has an interesting story as he's Ranni the witch's war counselor and possible older mentor figure. To be honest, there's not much I have to say about him. He's just goated because again, he can make you OP in the early game with his smithing stones. So shout out to him. Now here we have another blacksmith. The first time we meet Andre is in the Undead Parish, and something I just noticed is, why is there a bonfire on wood? Wouldn't that catch on fire? You know what, never mind. We see Andre here and man, it's like reuniting with your long lost dad. Also really like the way he talks, the constant clank as he hammers down on the sword he's been working on for the whole game, and just his muscular stature makes him one of my favorites. He's so good that he was even brought back in Dark Souls 3 as the main blacksmith. You also don't want to get on his bad side as bro will turn into prime Mike Tyson and beat you senseless. Also find it funny as a blacksmith, instead of using some sort of weapon he's working on to fight you, he's like, nah, I'ma just beat you to death with my bare hands. That's actually kinda cool, I ain't gonna lie. Now in terms of his backstory, he's somewhat mysterious as well. The only thing we know is that he's a human like you who hasn't gone hollow because he has a purpose. He's a blacksmith and was acquainted with the other blacksmith giant of Orlando. Also side note, honorable mention to that guy, he's pretty cool. Overall, Andre is a great character in the game, and since he's a blacksmith that upgrades our weapons, of course I'm going to place him in the top 15. Next up we have Ansbach. To be honest, the only reason why Ansbach is on this list is mostly because he helped out in that dreadful Leda fight. Honestly, fuck that fight, and shout out to Ansbach. I know a lot of people say that Melina isn't that great because she barely got any screen time, which is true, and I'm gonna be honest, compared to some of the other Soulsborne maidens, she's kinda boring. But my only issue is that y'all complain about Melina, yet don't do the same with the Emerald Herald. I'm not gonna lie, the Emerald Herald has to be the most boring maiden in the entire series. Yes, I said it, she's just boring. She has some interesting dialogue, but she just seems so non-caring about anything. Which to be fair can be said about Melina, but I'm just bringing this up because y'all hate on Melina but yet glaze the Emerald Herald, and they're pretty much the same. Now Melina is on this list because I genuinely like her character. Yeah, sure, I wish she had more of a presence within the story itself, but she's a decent maiden at the end of the day. And at the end, by the way, spoilers, she sacrifices herself so that you can go on with your journey. Just like many other characters on this list, her backstory is a bit unknown. Some say she's related to Ranni due to their eyes somewhat matching. Others say that she's related to the Gloam-Eyed Queen due to how her eyes look in the Frenzied Flame ending. and she mentions destined death, but it's at least confirmed that she's Mesmer's younger sister, which means that Melina is the daughter of Marika and possibly Radagon. Now, I'm not sure why her eyes are the way they are, especially in that ending, and why she specifically mentioned destined death, but at least we know that she's a part of the family. But yeah, Melina is also here because I felt like her story could have been deeper, but she felt more like an afterthought. But other than that, she's still one of my favorite characters. Eileen, a lot of people's favorite character from Bloodborne. She just has this older mentor vibe going on, which makes me like her even more. Also, the way she says Hund sounds cool. Her design is sick and her weapon fits her aesthetic and role, as even though she's a hunter, she comes off more as an assassin, which makes sense as she mostly goes up against other hunters. And speaking of that, let's talk about her lore. Eileen is a part of the Hunter of Hunter Covenant and follows the tradition of giving the dead a sky burial instead of putting them in coffins, which she believes is wrong. Even though she's older, she still hunts down hunters who have lost their sanity from the beast hunt, and she does it really well. By the end of her questline, Eileen is found badly hurt outside the Grand Cathedral. She tells you that she's taken blood and admits that the hunt has become too much for her, and gives her badge and the Hunter rune. After defeating the Bloody Crow inside the cathedral, if you leave and come back, her body is gone. This leaves it unclear if she died or managed to leave, but I think she managed to survive. But yeah, Eileen is really cool. Emma is another maiden-like character, and she's one of my favorites. First of all, she's more involved with the story compared to the other maidens, and by that I mean you see her pop up multiple times, even speaking with other characters on her own, which makes her feel more real in my opinion. She's also a doctor, which is pretty cool, but don't let her small frame fool you. This lady will throw you around like a rag doll in a fight. Honestly, I really like when games take a regular NPC and turn them into an optional boss fight. It makes them even more interesting. Emma was adopted by Ishin and trained under him, and here she gained the title of the Gentle Blaidd. Emma spends the whole game upgrading her healing gourd, but apart from that, I don't really have that much to say about her. She's just a really cool character. Now let's move on to the Onion Bros. I love the Onion Bros and their funny looking armor. They're just really chill and very polite. Like, it's kind of crazy to believe that in a world filled with demons and abominations, there are people this chill. So yeah, they get a shout out. Now speaking of chill, we have Blaidd. He's a lot of people's favorite Elden Ring NPC, and I can't blame them. I mean, bro looks really cool. First of all, his sword looks awesome and he has this guts vibe to him. And yeah, for the most part, he's really chill, except towards the end when he starts tweaking out. Honestly, this part is really sad and depressing. Now, let's talk about his story. Blaidd is a half-wolf warrior. He serves as the shadow and protector of Ranni the Witch, bound to her by a pact with the two fingers. Blaidd is fiercely devoted to Ranni, standing by her side as she rebels against the greater will. Despite his intimidating wolfish appearance, Blaidd is surprisingly kind and approachable. He's one of the few characters who treat the player with genuine warmth, and you'll often find him stepping in to help during key moments in Ranni's questline. However, Blaidd's story is also incredibly tragic. As Ranni's shadow, his fate is tied to the forces beyond his control, and his loyalty to her puts him at odds with the greater will. This conflict eventually drives him mad, and in the end, the player is forced to fight him. Blaidd's story is about loyalty and the cost of defying fate. He's a character who feels deeply human, despite his wolfish nature, and his towering design and noble spirit leaves a lasting impression. Honestly, he's a true warrior. I bet none of you are surprised that I put the doll on this list. I mean, you're probably more shocked that I didn't put her higher since I glaze Lady Maria a lot and she's modeled after her. But Doll is definitely one of my favorite characters due to her overall caring nature. Her story is also super interesting to me as she was created to be like Lady Maria. However, her personality was different, and because of this, Gehrman didn't really care for her all that much. She's also only sentient in the hunter's dream. Her voice is also soothing, like no weird shit, but whoever her voice actor is would make bank from doing ASMR. It's like so calming and soothing, which fits the doll's overall nature. But yeah, she's a great character. Alexander the Warrior Jar is one of the most unique and memorable characters in Elden Ring. He's an actual walking talking jar with a dream to become a legendary warrior. The first time you meet him, he's stuck in the ground and you need to whack him with your big stick in order to free him. Here he talks to us and he tells us his goal. Throughout your journey, Alexander pops up in various places, always pushing himself to grow stronger, whether it's sparring with us or participating in the festival at Redmane Castle. Alexander is always chasing his dream, even if it means putting himself in danger. Quick side note, he did get stuck again later on, and this time you need to oil him up and then whack him with your big stick. FromSoft was definitely on some freaky shit making this quest line. Anyways, he believes in the warrior's path and see battle as a way to prove his worth no matter the odds. But beneath his cheerful and optimistic demeanor lies a bittersweet story. Alexander's philosophy as a warrior jar is tied to sacrifice, as jars grow stronger by filling themselves with the remains of great fighters. In the end, Alexander chooses to face the player in one final battle, knowing it's the ultimate test of his strength and resolve. Alexander's journey is one of courage, ambition, and self-discovery. Despite being a literal jar, he's one of the most human characters in the game, a symbol of how far someone can go when they follow their dreams, no matter their shape or size. Solaire of Astora is one of the most beloved characters in Dark Souls and a symbol of hope in its bleak world. He's a wandering knight on a personal quest to find his own son. Sun, S-U-N, not S-O-N by the way, a goal he believes will give his life meaning. Solaire's unwavering optimism and cheerful demeanor makes him stand out in a world filled with despair, earning him a special place in many people's heart. You first meet Solaire early in your journey, gazing at the sun. He quickly becomes a source of encouragement, offering his help when it's needed. With his iconic line, "Praise the Sun," Solaire captures the essence of finding the light in the darkest of times. He embodies a rare sense of camaraderie, treating the player as a true friend rather than just another hollowed adventure. However, Solaire's story is without tragedy. His relentless pursuit of his son can lead him down a dark path where he succumbs to madness after being possessed by a parasitic sunlight maggot. Solaire is more than a character. He's a symbol of hope and determination. His infectious optimism and willingness to lend a hand inspire players to keep moving forward, no matter how tough the journey becomes. For many, Solaire isn't just a companion, he's a reminder to always seek the light, even when it feels out of reach. I don't care what anyone say, the Firekeeper is hands down the best maiden in the Souls games. Y'all can argue all you want, but let's be honest, it's true. I mean, she reacts to your emotes and I think that's pretty cool. But that aside, I really liked how involved she was with the story. I don't know a lot of these maidens play major parts in the story despite them mostly being in one area, but she has many endings with the players themselves. Speaking of story and characteristics, let's go over that. Firekeeper is a quite an enigmatic figure who serves as the player's guide and companion throughout their journey. She tends the flame of the Firelink Shrine, helping the player grow stronger by channeling the soul they collect. Soft-spoken and blind, the Firekeeper exudes a calm, almost ethereal presence, offering comfort in the harsh and crumbling world around her. Her role goes beyond simply aiding the player. The Firekeeper symbolizes the cyclical nature of the Dark Souls universe, where flame rise and fade in an endless cycle of light and dark. She understands this balance intimately and often speaks of the deep connection between fire and darkness, life and death. Her soothing voice and gentle demeanor contrast sharply with the brutal reality of the world, making her one of the rare sources of solace in the game. The Firekeeper's story takes an intriguing turn if the player chooses the End of Fire ending. In this path, she helps guide the world into an age of darkness, breaking the cycle of fire and ushering a new era. It's a bittersweet choice, reflecting her understanding that every age must come to an end. The Firekeeper is more than a helper. She's a guardian of the player's journey and a symbol of the delicate balance between hope and despair. Her quiet strength and unwavering devotion makes her one of the most memorable and meaningful characters in the series. Some of y'all may call me a simp, but I genuinely like Ranni, mostly because of her questline and the fact that it can lead to one of the cooler endings in Elden Ring. First of all, during the story trailer, she was the character that caught my eye the most due to her design. The doll-looking face with another ghostly face attached to it, I don't know, it's just a pretty sick design. So when she popped up for the first time, I was like, oh shit, it's the girl from the trailer. Ranni's quest begins with her rejecting the two fingers, severing all her ties with the greater will to forge her own destiny. She seeks to bring out an age of her making where the influence of the greater will no longer holds sway over the lands between. To achieve this, she enlists the player's help along with her loyal allies, Blaidd, Selvius, and War Counselor Iji. What makes Ranni so compelling is the combination of her cold, mysterious exterior and the hints of vulnerability beneath it. She's calm and composed, yet her deep sense of purpose and her willingness to sacrifice everything for her vision reveals a profound determination. Ranni's questline is one of the most intricate and rewarding in the game, taking players through the depths of the lands between. If the player chooses to side with her, Ranni's ending ushers in an age of stars, a distant and cold age of freedom from the gods meddling. It's a bittersweet conclusion, reflecting her belief that true independence requires stepping away from the light of the Erdtree. Now, some people may call Ranni an evil person because she's the one that called for Godwyn's assassination, which then led to the world to be in its current state. However, I think that's the reason why I like her character. Not that I think she's evil, but it just shows that she's morally gray and willing to do anything in order to achieve her goals. And her goal is that she wants people to have actual freedom. Despite being a side character in the game, her questline makes it seem like she's actually one of the main ones. And that's why I like her so much.